what is up, YouTube? I want to make a Hunter guide for the 5 people left playing, or maybe, you know, maybe they've actually fixed the netcode and you're watching this in the future and more people are picking up. But I figured I'd do it in a way that appeals to a broader audience, talking about how to learn team games in general, because I think you can apply a lot of the fundamentals from one team game to another. You can actually apply the fundamentals from learning any game to another, going from like Street Fighter to Marvel Tokon or something like that. But there's certain things that stick out between 1v1 fighting games and team games. I want to really talk about those differences, right? And I think a very obvious thing at first is the character select screen. Now, character select is different because, you know, you have to pick 2, 3, 4 characters depending on the team games, compared to the 1v1 game where you literally only have one choice. So my advice typically in a 1v1 game is pick the character you like, and generally, like, unless you're at like the highest level, tier lists don't matter. Team games, for several different reasons, are a lot more broken. And it's a lot harder to get away with like just playing the characters you like. The main reason I can think of is it's harder to steal tech, because if you have a brand new unique team and you're coming to a team game with like no experience, it's kind of hard to like X-copy people because no one's gonna be playing your team. The other thing is like some characters are just the power gap between like the low tier characters and the high tier characters generally in team games is a lot higher than it is for a 1v1 game. And also team composition matters a lot. Some characters have a lot of synergy and some don't. So for example, I'm not a huge fan of like Morel and Bisky. So when I think of, even though Bisky I think is like probably the #1 character in the game, and I think Krollo is #2 in the game, and I like to play Krollo because I think he looks cool, I don't think this team of Morel, Bisky, Krollo has a lot of synergy, because Morel Krollo could already kill. And one of Bisky's like main advantages is being like a damage engine, and the fact that you can like tag her in, tack on a shit ton of damage, and you can also make comeback with her, which Krollo kind of already serves that purpose. Now, don't get me wrong, because these characters are really cheap, I could probably get away with that team and it could still be really good. But just an example of like certain characters don't mesh well with other characters. Another example is Morel. He's the character I want to play, so I built the team around him. I just think Morel looks cool, right? And so I picked 2 characters that synergize with them well. Krollo, because I think you want someone that can make a really strong comeback, so like I could also play Bisky too. And I picked Leori because I think you want someone with a really strong assist. I could play like Hisoka, like who's also a good character, but I don't think the synergy is there between the characters, because what Leorio gives Morel is really, really strong. And so let me show you what that means. And I guess what I would say tip number 2 is assists are very, very important in team games. And generally you want like 1 or 2 patterns where you can like use assists, because like you have so many different options, right? In this game you have 3 different assists. You can call assist almost at any time except during a Nen move. So because you have so much variety and you have so many possibilities, you don't want to like just do like you don't want to make up shit on the fly, right? You want to have a couple of sequences that are just like really strong from the get-go. And this is an example. So if I do Morel 5H, just normal is really good as armor, it reaches almost full screen. The issue is I can't get a combo off of it, right? Like you see, they just get away. If I call Leorio assist at the right time, this will combo. And even on block, it still gives you good advantage. So I built my playstyle around just this one key stone, right? So like I know how to get a combo from it. I know what to do on block. And that's the main way I can use the assist. Now, obviously, I don't want to always use the assist like that, because like there's characters that can beat this armor with like a low or their own armor. So the other way I'll use the assist is I'll just like super jump and I'll call this, right? And it's really hard to like beat that approach, and you can't really see where the green little homing things are coming from, right? And then my other assists, the main way I like to use that in neutral is the same way, right? I can't do it with a super jump, but I can do something like dash up and then go for like a cross up. And this assist is like really hard to hit him out, and I'll just like randomly get a hit, and then you can get a combo too. So that's basically, I think the first thing you should learn is how to use your assist, and try to use them in like a very straightforward manner until you get better at the game, and then you can incorporate more assist strategies as you get better, right? Now, I think the third thing is like you gotta learn a combo. The games like team games are really bad if you don't know how to do combos. And the hard part is like compared to Street Fighter, like you don't need super optimal combos. You just need to learn how to like punish something really quick. Combos in this game are a lot more important, right? Because let's say I don't know my combo from this, and I just do this and I do this and I do this, and then like, okay, like eventually they're gonna drop, and like that works, and that's pretty good. And that's what you should start off with, is just something really easy that converts your hits, and then you know what to go into. Let's say I do it again, and like I don't have to end this in anything crazy. I could just end it in super, and then I end in super. I go for like a snapback, I call assist, and then, well, you get the idea, and then I just loop it all over again, right? And this isn't very hard for a beginner to learn. This is like all I'd recommend learning. Now, the issue with that is, at higher level, instead of just taking the, snapback, you're gonna, one, take way more damage, and actually, a lot of characters in this game can just kill you off one hit, right? I dropped the combo, but you get the idea. Like, if I do it right, you're dead, and you're gonna have a very bad time, right? So it's something you have to constantly work on, but because those kind of combos take so long to learn compared to the basic combos, is like, get your basic combos down ASAP. Another difference between 1v1 games and like these team games is that there's so much more to lab in this game. I think it's a lot easier to learn from ranked in like Street Fighter, for example, because you can just kind of spam games. You could try your few small things over and over, but there's no way you're gonna like be able to learn a combo like that in the middle of a ranked match, right? You have to like do the lab work, but at the same time, you want to like actually play the game so you know what's strong and what you need to work on. I think in this game, or like any type of team game, you have to find a balance between labbing and playing ranked and playing against people, right? So I guess the tips I would give is, understand that you're gonna have to lab more in a team game than like a 1v1 game generally. And I think you really want to lab until you hit like the minimum standard of like gameplay, right? Which is like, I'm hitting you and then like I'm converting that hit into like another mix-up, which is basically how every team game works, right? And as long as you can do that, you could probably escape the like lab purgatory and you're actually like playing the game. Because if you're not playing the game, you just like, you just drop shit, then there's so many different scrambles. And that's like, realistically, a team game that's really scrambly is really different than a team game that like everyone has their offense fleshed out and that sort of thing, right? So basically, try to focus the lab more than games until you get out of that lab purgatory and you're actually doing like just stable combos that aren't dropping, right? I think after that, your goal should be try to make it a one-player game. The more I can like control what my opponent does, that's how you improve at these games, right? The more I can like slightly optimize my BNBs and make sure they don't drop, right? You saw my BNB drop before. So like I need to practice it in order to make sure that like if this ever happens again, I'm actually killing, right? And then the question is, all right, after I kill, right? Now the next character comes in, making sure I have my mix-up good, right? So knowing the timing for the mix-up, knowing different variations, that sort of thing. Really, you want to find a way to limit your opponent's options as much as possible. And I think after that, it just comes down to continual improvement. Some of the things that I'm working on in this game, for example, utilizing the system mechanics even better, right? So a couple really important things is this quick gear. So for example, if I don't have assist, I can do something like 5H, quick gear. And then if my hit confirm is good enough, instead of dropping it, I can get a full combo. And by the way, because of how this game works, again, I'm new to it, but how this game works is like, if I land this properly, you're dead, right? I can go into the same loop as before. And yeah, this does a shit ton of damage and GG's, right? You see the idea. I actually didn't drop it that time. Another thing I've been focusing on is like making sure I can punish certain things. So this seems really good. It's like Helm Breaker, it leads into a full combo. But if my reactions are good and I time it right, let's see if I can get it. Oh, I can't even get, I don't even know if I can. I think I have to like block it first and then you get the idea. So there's like different ways, learning how the system mechanics work in order to be able to punish things like this can really make the difference between losing a game and winning a game. really there's so much to learn in team games because the mechanics are generally like much more broad. And you know, I'm not doing anything crazy. I'm just going to the same B&B as before. You know, I'm still new to this game, but you get the idea. So generally, like, you do that. And the other thing is, like, obviously focus on matchups. As you notice, like in Hunter x Hunter or like other games, certain characters are just way better, right? So for example, like Indoor Fish is such a good super that people have literally designed counter strategies around it. And I think it's important to like actually focus on the really strong matchups, right? So like, for example, I'll just open the Nen Impact Discord, and like there's people trying to find tech against the fish super, right? Let me see if I can find it. Oh, maybe I can't find it. You know what? We don't need tech against the fish super. Yeah, here's an example, right? Obviously this game, you know, why I'm recording this, is only like a couple weeks old, but you get the idea. Is like luring the counterplay to certain things that are really strong should be the next level of gameplay, right? Because if you can mitigate the really strong strategies, then you already have a leg up on the competition. And the cool thing about team games compared to 1v1 is that it's less about reads, it's less about playing the player, and it's more about, have you built a really good strategy, and do you know more about the game, and can you, how do I say, like, can you problem solve better than the other player? It really, yes, you still play the player, yes, mind games are still important, etc., but it really stresses a different skill set, especially if you're coming from a 1v1 game. It's really important to understand that. Anyways, if you got any tips for Hunter x Hunter, let me, or any team game for that matter, let me know down in the comments below. I think if I had to give any additional tips for Hunter x Hunter, it's save your overgear, spam the shit out of Nen stance. It's really good. Get used to Nen stance and incoming. It's really strong. Do option selects with like throw, so like you can throw people, because throwing people out of Nen stance is really good. Try to make sure you have all of your how do you say, like Oki and stuff down, and that's about it. Anyways, like, share, subscribe, take care y'all, and have a good one.